Hey everybody, and welcome back to If You Would Have Asked Me. I'm your host, Addie, and today we're going to be talking about shadow work and facing the parts of ourselves that hide in the shadows. What you avoid controls you. That's the truth most of us don't want to admit. Shadow work is exploring the hidden, darkened parts of ourselves that drive toxic cycles, hence shadow work. The dark part of ourselves that linger all the time when too much light shines through. This episode is about honesty, self reflection, and growth, not perfection. So, in a simple definition, shadow work is facing the parts of yourself that you usually avoid: habits, traumas, insecurities, past experiences, lessons that you feel can't be unlearned. So, it's called shadow work because it's a side of you that stays in the dark that's uncomfortable to face. You can't grow if you won't look at what's holding you back. So I personally started to recognize that I needed to work on shadow work in like 2020, early 2022. And it started with like small habits and realizing that they're connected back to like deeper trauma. I remember the first time I thought this was like clear and like a prevalent thing that like happened in my life. I it was like I think it was it junior. It was like junior senior year of high school, and I had just started making a whole bunch of friends, and I was kind of just getting comfortable like being around people and like being social and just like being out of my comfort zone because like I normally was a homebody. Like my dad kind of had to force me to make friends, but I was doing it. And like I had kind of realized that me realizing that I'm safe to make friends and that I can take care of myself in a way where I don't have to be scared to meet people kind of helped me realize that wow, like I was so scared to meet people for so long because of what I went through with my mom in this situation and the outcome of that and how it feels similar, so I just rather not. But now I'm doing it and I realize that it's okay. It's understanding how toxic habits and cycles and trauma are all linked and allowing that to give you clarity to work through it. So right now, just take a second and think to yourself what small habits in your life be might be tied to a deeper root. And I also want everybody to make sure that you understand that shadow work is different for everybody. No one is going to work through their shadow work and have the same outcome as somebody else. Everyone's shadows are unique. Not one person is going to face the same cycles as another. So, what you're working on might not look anything like what your best friend's working on for themselves, but there's a lot of beauty in that, and the fact that we aren't able to all be in this, like we all aren't the same exact person and we can't learn the same exact lessons because it's so gentle and so kind to be able to see someone grow at their own pace and know that they are growing and be able to recognize that rather than to be on the same pace as them, even if their growth looks different than yours. Shadow work is deeply, deeply, deeply personal. It goes so far back to trace backs to the point that your parents could have not talked to you while you were in the womb and now you have communication problems. And if you were to compare your process to others, it makes no sense. And in all realness, it's unfair. It is unfair of you to compare what you have to work through to somebody else and what they have to work through. Because all they're working through is what they know, and all you're working through is what you know. And that is simplified enough for it to be okay. And the hard truth about shadows is that toxic cycles repeat. And as they repeat, you'll notice that these toxic cycles come from shadows that go unacknowledged. And it's hard to express because you're facing your dark side and your dark side feels shameful and painful. It feels like the side of yourself that's so absolutely disgusting, the reason that you think people hate you, it's overwhelming. Every one of us has a dark side. We find it hard to look directly in the eyes of that dark side, but we all have it. And to get along with that dark side, not to get rid of it because you never can, it'll always be there. Growth requires courage to bring those hidden parts to the light so that way you can start to deal with them. And so when it comes to doing the work in this situation, you have to acknowledge habits and patterns without judgment. Understand that you are literally doing everything right now for the first time, and that you can't be upset with yourself for not being successful in everything that you've tried to make yourself feel better. Trace them back to where they came from. Ask yourself, why am I reacting this way in this situation rather than the way that rather than reacting in this way, which is the way I would like to react. Be patient with yourself, because when it comes to finding the answers to these questions, it's not about speed, it's about honesty. And sometimes bringing up the things that you went through in your childhood, it's hard to find all that honesty and be comfortable with it on a day-to-day basis. I deal with the things that I went through as a kid every day. It sucks. I'll never be normal because of it. And honestly, I'm getting used to it and I kind of don't care. But for the last fucking 10 years, it wasn't easy. Doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm committed to being better because of this work. And that's something that you have to remind yourself. So, right now, as you're sitting wherever you're sitting or listening wherever you're listening, I want you to tell yourself it doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm committed to becoming better because of what I've been through. You're stronger than your past. Remember that. Shadow work isn't about a quick fix, it's about a process of pulling one string at a time. Being able to detangle that string and pull it fully down without any other knots. Maybe a couple every here and there, because you can't get all those tiny little knots out, but you can still use the string, and the string will still come unknotted from the rest of it. The reward of shadow work is so much greater than the fear of going through all of it. It gives you self-awareness and self-acceptance, and it helps you be okay with not being your ideal self yet. Shadow work isn't about becoming perfect. It's about aligning with who you are and growing from that point forward. And so, to recap everything that we wanted to talk about in our beautiful episode today, what you avoid will control you until you face it. Shadow work is personal, difficult, and often uncomfortable. By acknowledging your habits, trauma, and dark sides, you free yourself from toxic cycles. And so I leave you guys with this today. What's one shadow you've been avoiding? Can you take one small step towards facing that shadow this week? Your shadows aren't here to destroy you. They're here to guide you into becoming your truest self. And that's all I've got for you guys today on shadow work and facing the parts of you that you avoid. If you guys liked this episode, you should definitely share it with your friends, any other people, do whatever you want to do with it. Put it out there, let people know that there is this podcast. I don't know what the fuck. Anyways, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and yeah, trust yourself. I guess that's what I've got. Bye guys.